The second round of the NBA and NHL playoffs are about to wrap up. How many game sevens are we going to have? We talk about the NFL schedule release. Woo woo. We touch on some baseball, and we got a new segment alert that we unveiled today. Woo woo. Get ready. We're shaking down the door to the weekend. This is Box Scores and Bourbon.
Look at the box scores.
Box Scores and Bourbon.
We check each other's box scores and scores online.
Baseball, box scores.
So football, baseball, basketball, soccer, hockey.
Box Scores and Bourbon.
The NFL schedule has been released, and it's time for us all to get screwed over of our hard-earned money to watch grown men grab each other for 3 hours while they fight over a pigskin. But why is a schedule such a big deal when it comes to releasing it? Obviously, the NFL is trying to make every aspect of their game relevant and every aspect of the game a source of entertainment. But most teams know who they're going to play right away. There's no secret about who they're going to play. There is a systematic approach to this. So really, all we're waiting to hear is when they're going to play. Yes, I know revenge games matter, but when it comes to when they matter or when they happen, that's not really that big of a deal. Everybody looks forward to Eagles versus Giants with Saquon Barkley having his revenge against the team that beat up his body for the last 4 years, or the Falcons versus Vikings game coming up with Kirk Cousins showing the Vikings what they missed out on. Who's going to forget about the Cowboys versus Niners with the Niners owning the Cowboys for the last 4 seasons in a row? Or the Chiefs versus everyone. I mean, the Chiefs versus the Ravens and the Bengals, the last 2 AFC championship matchups. Yes, all those revenge games matter, but when they happen does not really matter. To fans everywhere, no matter when they happen, they will be watched. But don't worry, I have a method to the madness when it comes to saving your money and getting your money's worth when it comes to buying your tickets. We all want to have the key matchups that we will inevitably pay big money to watch. Yes, a late season divisional matchup sounds amazing. Eagles Cowboys always is a sellout crowd. But even the NFL knows that some of those matchups are more significant than others. And it doesn't matter where they're being played. There's a reason every single team with the schedule release has a TBD, to be determined, on their Week 18 game, because they want to make sure that they have the most important relevant game at the key time frame of that week, which again brings me back to that point. Why do we make such a big deal out of the schedule release? What we have to do is pay attention to the schedule and realize what the time frame is for when we want to pay to watch these games. It really does depend on how good your team is or how good your team is expected to be. An example would be a playoff contender a la Eagles, Niners, Cowboys, Chiefs, Ravens. We want to see who those teams are going to be matching up against at the end of the season to see who's going to make the last push for the number 1 seed. But really, if your team is rebuilding, do we really care? Do we really care that the Carolina Panthers are going to be playing their divisional opponents for the last 3 games of the season? Not really. I'll keep in mind, since 2018, there's been 13 coaches that have been fired mid-season. I'm talking to you, Urban Myers. Additionally, the first couple games don't really matter. When it comes to choosing the game that you want to watch, the first couple games are going to be the games where teams are figuring out who they really are. Then nothing really to get excited about. Unless you're the Chiefs hanging up your 3rd banner on opening week in the last 5 years, then the opening game really does matter. But when it comes to coaches get canned from week 10 to week 12. That's when coaches end up getting fired if they're going to get fired mid-season. That means that those games are really probably going to be a wash when it comes to good quality football. Again, like I said, week 18 doesn't matter for the most part because most teams are either already locked up their division or have nothing to play for. So really, what it comes down to is that the money games are in the nitty-gritty middle of the season, that being week 6 through week 10 are the prime weeks when you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck. Conveniently, the Cowboys play the Lions, the Niners, which are key opponents, Niners, like I said, are a key team that has been destroying them for the last 5 years, and the Lions, who doesn't want a rematch from what we saw last year? For Saints fans, unfortunately, the biggest game they have during that time frame is against the Chargers, and I can't expect that to be a great matchup for the Saints. Now we'll bring back JB to talk about the schedule
Nice.
release.
Way to go. Love it, dude. Love it, love it, love it. I got some problems with your Saints game pick. Sean Payton is coming back to Denver, I think week 12. So that'll be fun.
But
maybe
who knows
he
if Sean Payton will
forgets.
still be the coach at that point?
Maybe he gets traded back to New Orleans mid-game.
Yeah,
That'd be
mid-season
awesome.
trade. Give us our picks.
I'd love
back.
that.
Exactly.
Mid-season, mid-game trade.
I honestly did forget about the fact that Sean Payton was going back home. That may be an interesting matchup, but are we really expecting anything major out of the Saints, and are we really expecting anything major out of the Broncos is the question. The storyline will be great.
Yeah, I'm more disappointed that that Saints game isn't in Denver because I'd love to go there. But it's a much more compelling storyline when the prodigal son comes home,
right?
And he's there, and we get to. I'm interested to see how Saints fans actually treat him. I really am, because my family hates him. He is the scum of the earth for leaving New Orleans. And I've tried to tell my mom, she's not listening to this ever, even though she says I can do anything I put my mind to, except, I can tell her you can listen to the podcast and that won't happen. I try to tell my mom that, look, it was honestly time for a change, because everything they did, Drew Brees was there. Drew Brees was gone. The Teddy experiment kind of worked, but he left. Jameis didn't work, much to my disappointment. I kind of hoped for that to work. I like Jameis as a ball thrower, and honestly, he seems like a really great guy to have in your clubhouse.
But what is there to hate about Sean Payton is what I'm struggling to see, because he retired from the Saints. He
didn't retire. He didn't retire. He didn't. No, he had years left on his contract. That's why Denver traded for him. Denver, he never retired.
Right, but he technically retired.
He called it a retirement. We all know what that is. When you have time, that's the what is that? That's the Brett Favre thing. I retire. And, what? I'm going to play for Minnesota. I'm going to go play for the Jets. Okay, cool. All right, what? I'm going to play for Minnesota. Okay, great. I'll go do that. That's that kind of retirement. And even though he said it, I'm like, I don't believe it.
I don't know what to tell you. We are starting off on the wrong foot, JB. Let us correct our mistakes. Ask for forgiveness for our sins.
Yes.
Cheers.
Salut, my man. Jeez, Carolina just went up 2-0, 2-0 now. I'm telling you. I know we're going to hit on this later, but because I'm watching it now, Shesterkin is still about the best goalie in NHL and easily the best goalie in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But I said from the very beginning that if the Rangers couldn't get their defensive line play under control, this was going to affect him, because this is just the semis, but the Canes and the Rangers were clearly the two best teams in the Eastern Conference. And this is going to be a dogfight. And the fact that, Shesterkin's been getting eaten alive with the shots on goal. And you can't expect the guy to be immaculate. You just can't.
Right.
So it's just disheartening.
Yeah, like you said, we'll jump more into the NHL later, but right now it has been a back and forth series across the board, and I shouldn't say series. Every single series has been back and forth.
Yeah, NBA and NHL, both of them.
Yeah.
But we're gonna put a pin in that, because we're gonna do some NFL stuff. We're gonna keep the ball rolling with Manny's monologue and keep this all connected. That's right. The interconnected tree of life. Just like Simba's weird monkey uncle said. So we're gonna jump into it. We, like I said at the top, we're gonna talk about the NFL draft schedule release, but we're gonna do it with a twist. So from now until we're done, so for the next 4 months, for the next 16 episodes, we got something special for you. We are going to, not only are we going to break down the schedule of each NFL team and kind of give our analysis on it, we're also going to do something fun that we're going to call Mount Rushmore of the NFL teams. That's not a sound clip. That was me only for you audio only listeners. Maybe we can get a little soundbite for that, so you don't have to listen to that every week.
We'll cut
What
that
we're
out.
gonna do is we're gonna leave it in. It's fun. We're gonna spin. We're gonna spin a wheel, and one of our generous listeners has made up a list of all 32 teams, and he has assigned random numbers to these teams. And what the Mount Rushmore segment is going to be is yours truly and Manny are going. Oh, 2-1 now. Yours truly and Manny are going to pick one number, and the fan who assigned the numbers is going to give us each the team assigned to that number, and we're going to give a Mount Rushmore, top 4 of that franchise's history with no research. So it leaves open criticism, which is my favorite part, and discussion for further talking about each team. So without further ado, we will spin the wheel of Mount Rushmore destiny. Manny, pick your number, please.
13 is my number.
All right. Manny, number 13 on the list, according to our listener, are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Ooh.
So pick your Mount Rushmore. Fan, player, coach,
Fan.
owner, the top 4. Yeah, fans, whatever. Because the Jets have that fireman.
Oh.
So, and the Bills have every drunk fan's ever jumped on a table. So you can do just the top 4 off the top of your head. Go.
So I'm tempted to put Tom Brady up there because why didn't he deserve to be on every aspect of the football world that he has touched? He deserves to be on their Mount Rushmore, but I will not. He did. He had a great, good one. I will pass on Tom Brady. I have to go with the current player right now because he's been dominating. I think Mike Evans is and will go down as one of the greatest wide receivers the Buccaneers have ever had or will ever have. So that will be my first one.
Okay.
Historically, Warren Sapp, I think, would be the next.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hall of Famer,
good one.
Massive guy for the amount of speed and agility he had. But that has to be solid up in there. And then I feel like the other two would have to be coaches. John Gruden would be one because he made
one.
The Bucs. Yeah, he made the Bucs relevant. And finally, this might be controversial. I want to give Bruce Arians the 4th spot because he's the coach that built the Super Bowl winning team. Well, I know Tom Brady was the missing piece, but Bruce Arians really had everything else there, and he kind of just was missing that final piece and got them a Super Bowl. So that's my Mount Rushmore for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay, all right.
You want to critique me or you want to wait?
Yeah, I'll give a few, just a couple. How you left Mike Allstott off of there, right? The greatest fullback ever to play the game, and the dude he was so much. And granted, this was well before your time. Okay, yeah. Mike Allstott. I as a kid, I loved watching him play. Just barrel through dudes, just creating holes in the gap for the for the running back. I mean, he was he was just such a beast of a guy, and it was so much fun to watch.
Here's what I have to say about that. I tend to rely on recency bias because I'm a young buck. I grew
You're
up
12.
I grew I grew up in a way after his time, like you said. But additionally, it's hard for me to give any fullback ever any credit because since I've been conscious enough to follow football, fullbacks haven't been relevant. So why would I can't really put anybody up there when
Are you telling me Kyle Juszczyk isn't one of the Mount Rushmore of the Niners?
I am 100% living and dying by that.
And then the other guy I would say is Tony Dungy.
Oh yeah.
I feel like John Gruden only won that Super Bowl because he took Tony Dungy's team to the Super Bowl, and then he left to go to the Raiders, and that we all know what happened there. That was the birth of your Tom Brady. There's the full circle. There's the full circle right there.
Who's the one that got the championship? I'm sorry, John Gruden did it.
John Gruden did. Yeah, he did. Yeah. All right, go ahead and spin my wheel.
Let's spin your wheel.
My number is lucky number 17.
And you, JB.
And our listener, yes.
Get the great Detroit Lions.
Yes. All right.
That one's easy. Come on.
There's some running back there. Jamal Williams, is that who it is?
No,
I'll go with number 1. 3-1 now. Good Lord. I'll go with Barry Sanders, number 1, of course.
Shocker.
Arguably the greatest Lion to ever lion, except he never got to lion in the playoffs, which, he was lying dead in the playoffs because, they all were.
Lying on the couch.
I'll go with Barry Sanders. I will go number 2, Megatron. Calvin Johnson needs to be on that Mount Rushmore. He needs to be. This dude was something else. Barry Sanders was a running back like none other. I watched this dude before you were born, but I remember a Monday night game when Barry Sanders was surrounded by 6 Bear defenders, and he did a spin move and got out of it. I didn't even know that was possible. I saw that. That's like watching the good guy die in a movie for the first time. Is this even possible? Is this real life? Watch a Megatron just destroy DBs his entire career. We all like to talk about the magnificence of the new receivers now, and even going back to OBJ and just his one-handed catches, and then even today with Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. Yes, those are all LSU receivers. Take note. But Megatron kept these dudes in some games. He made, not that Matthew Stafford needed much help, but man, Matthew Stafford thanked his lucky. He thanked God every night for the fact that he had Megatron to throw to. So I got Barry. I got Megatron. Number 3 on this list is going to be. It might be a little controversial. So this is why I'm going to say it. But Roman Gabriel, the quarterback for the Lions back in the 50s, in the 60s, he was part of one of the first great movements of Detroit Lion football. And it's funny that I bring him up because he just died 2-3 months ago. But he was absolutely one of those. He was the first great quarterback that Lions had. And he got a lot of flack just because of the coaching and the what was it, the coaching plays that were called. They didn't really adhere to his strengths, but he really put Detroit on the map. And he doesn't give enough credit for the quarterback that he was. And then number 4. I don't even know. You know what? I'll put William Ford. Okay? And I'll put William Ford on there because they wear the patch in honor of him. William
Yeah.
Ford was the owner that kind of started to bring the team out of anonymity,
Mhm.
and really wanted to bring something to Detroit. Wanted to, and what better guy to lead and own a team in Detroit than a guy with the last name Ford? So honestly, it just makes sense. So my top 4 in Lions are Barry Sanders, Megatron, Roman Gabriel, and William Ford.
My critique for you is,
Please bring it.
why do you just have a problem with putting 2 players from the same era together as Mount Rushmore? What do you have against Matthew Stafford against putting him over Roman Gabriel?
I've got not see. That's the thing. I only get 4 choices here.
That's
I
why
only
I'm
get
saying
4.
putting him over Roman Gabriel.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Roman Gabriel won a championship with the Lions. They won a
Wow.
championship with him. So,
We'll have to
and I
fix
might
that.
be mistaken. I think he did. But Matthew Stafford never did that. Matthew Stafford led the Lions to 1 playoff game, and that was against the Saints, and they lost that game, 41-17, I think.
Oh, and he led him to
So
2 because he lost against the Cowboys too.
the Cowboys didn't beat anybody in the playoffs. That was in your dreams. That was Cowboys haven't won a playoff game since the day you were conceived. Okay, so
Correction. That's a Super Bowl. Correction.
Let's not get it twisted. All right. Yeah, since the year of our Lord 2002 when you were born.
Wow.
Okay, this does not happen. But those are my top 4. And look, I could have said Matthew Stafford. I could have said Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell would have easily been someone, because dude, what this dude's doing is for real. It's not like I said Steve Mariucci. All right.
He's not. He hasn't done. What has he actually done? Tell me what he's actually done. He led them to NFC
That's the
Championship
history of the
one
Lions.
time?
It's like, well, okay,
One
well,
time?
who am I gonna say? I'm saying there's an argument. There's an argument
Yeah,
to be made. If
I
we
don't
did
think
this
there is.
next year, after the Lions won the Super Bowl, okay,
Wow.
after they beat the Cowboys,
Hot take.
and after they beat the Cowboys in the first half of the NFC Championship game, because the Cowboys forget to show up for the rest of it. Big surprise.
Well, our goal is to make it to the NFC Championship. We'll take a break after we make it. we'll bench everybody.
But those are our top 4 for the Buccaneers and Lions. Yay. Way to go. That was actually pretty difficult. I had a hard, because I don't want to leave anybody off. It's really, and it's hard to think off the top of your head, who are the top 4 franchise history.
Yeah. I feel like mine was
a
little bit, I don't know, is it recent? I don't know what it is. Mine seemed like it was not obvious. Obviously, people can have different opinions, but it came easy. The 2 coaches that have made them relevant and the 2 top players that they've had, in my opinion, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But with that, let's transition to schedule analysis for both the Buccaneers and the Lions. Let's dig in. So if you want to, let's go ahead and take this. Let's do this.
Let's see what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers
here.
have. So they start the season off by playing Washington. And this might be more of an analysis on what Washington is going to be, but that should be an easy win. Washington probably won't get more than 4 wins this year. I don't know. I'll have to analyze their schedule.
Yeah.
But they are playing the Cowboys this year, which I'm looking forward to. And they'll be right at the end of the season. So that game might matter for the Cowboys and the Buccaneers, solidifying them.
Yeah, that's a Week 16 game. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a primetime game, too. That's primetime.
Yep. Yeah. Well, it's because of the Cowboys, not because of the Bucs. Let's be honest here.
No, everyone wants to see Baker. That's why they're doing this. Okay?
Yes. They also, of course, they play the Saints, but they also play the Chiefs and the Niners back to back. That is going to suck for them. They're going to get beat up. Maybe their entire starting lineup will be out for the rest of the season after they play those 2 teams. One of them because they're
Which 2 teams?
They play the Chiefs, and then they follow that up by playing the Niners week 9 and 10. So that's going to be a little hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Let me see. Yeah, I think probably
is that they have them back to back, so they'll get a good gauge of what type of team they are right away, and then from there on, week 12 through 18, they'll know after they finish with the Niners, they'll know if they're going to compete for the division or they're just going to start
Yeah.
figuring out what they're going to do in the offseason.
Yeah.
So it might be a
And it's
blessing
kind
in
of nice
disguise.
too because they get their bye week right after they play both of them. And so
Yeah.
they go to Kansas City for Monday night and then they come home. So they get to be at home for 2 weeks, really. They play the Niners at home and then they have their bye week. So
Yeah.
I feel like, you'd like to have your bye week before, but I can see I can see an argument for, you play, the first 10 weeks of football and you get to see where you are. And look, they're playing in NFC South. This is not going to be a competitive conference. The team that wins the conference is going to be 9-8 probably.
Again?
Maybe 10-7. Maybe 10-7. I just don't see it. I don't see it. And and I'm a Saints fan, but Derek Carr historically does not play well under first-year coordinators with him. So and they have a new OC in Clint Kubiak. And so we're gonna have to deal with that whole rigmarole again. I think the only thing that helps is I think the quarterback coach for New Orleans, I think has some familiarity with Derek Carr. I think Janako has some familiarity, and I might be wrong. But having the bye week for Tampa Bay after playing KC and San Fran will be good. I got to say, it's the first half of this. They play Washington, then they go to Detroit, then they play Denver. So let's do this. Go through the schedule. I'm gonna name the opponent, and you give me win or loss. Okay?
For the Tampa?
For Tampa,
Okay.
yeah. Week 1, Washington.
Win.
Week 2 at Detroit.
Loss.
Week 3 at home against Denver.
Ooh. Yeah, I guess that'll be a win. I'm giving Denver a little too much credit.
Okay. Now, week 4 at home against Philly. I know what your heart wants to say.
I am a realistic fan. I will give the Eagles the win. All right.
Okay.
So yeah, they're 2-2 right now.
Okay. Week 5, Thursday Night Football at Atlanta.
Ooh.
The first division game.
Because it's so early on in the season, I would say Tampa's probably going to win.
Okay. Even in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. 3-2 there.
Atlanta is not the dome that it used to be as far as their fandom. I think they've lost a lot of their spirit.
Yeah. I would say so. Week 6 at New Orleans.
Oh, that's a hard one. I'm going to bank on they're probably going to split with most of the division. So I'll give New Orleans this win.
Ooh, okay. 3-3.
3-3, yeah.
Week 7, Monday Night Football at home against Baltimore.
Oh, fuck. Oh, come on. Baltimore's going to destroy them.
That depends on what Baltimore team shows up. Lamar might be hurt again. He's always hurt the first half of the season.
No, he's not. He gets hurt in the second half of the season. How dare you?
All right, so you give it to Baltimore, okay? Week 8, they at home against Atlanta. So they finished off the Atlanta series by week 8.
Nah, I don't like how they do that stuff, but I'll give Atlanta the win on that one since I gave them the win. So they'll split.
You got them 3-5 so far.
Yep.
3-5 before their road game against Kansas City, the Monday night game.
Put it 3-6.
Wow, I love your heart. Week 9 at home against the Niners.
3-7.
3-7. Wow. Do they win the red and silver game at practice during the bye week? Do you give them a win?
No,
for that
they'll take the loss on that one as well.
Now, and here's what's funny: like the easier, so you have them at 3-7 right now.
Yeah, but the schedule gets easier the second half.
I can easily see 5 or 6 wins in the second half here.
Exactly.
At the Giants.
Yeah, they'll beat the Giants.
Then they go to Carolina.
Yeah, they'll beat Carolina.
Yeah, 5-7 right now. Look at that.
Yeah,
at home against the Raiders.
Yeah, they'll beat the Raiders.
Okay, 6-7. Look how quick that was.
They'll get a little
At-
hot streak going.
At the Chargers.
They'll probably lose that one.
Okay. And then we have them going to Dallas for Sunday Night Football. What you got?
I don't think I'm disheartened by Dallas, but I don't think they're that bad. I think they'll beat them. I think Dallas will win. So Tampa takes the
Okay. And then they finish the season at home, back to back against the Panthers and the Saints.
So yeah, they'll sweep the Panthers, and then
Okay.
I said the Saints would win the first one, so the Saints will lose this one, so they'll beat the Saints.
So they're going to do a split. So the Tampa
Yeah.
will lose on the road and they'll win at home. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, they'll split with the Falcons and with the Saints, but they'll sweep Carolina.
You have them finishing 8-9.
Oh, that's
And
a
I gotta
division
tell
title
you-
out there, baby.
I got to tell you, that's not an unreasonable prediction to win the NFC South. It's just not.
Back-to-back division champs right there.
Yeah, I can see. You gave them a loss against the Niners.
Yeah.
I can see them winning that game.
Why? I could see them winning against.
I can honestly-
the Eagles
so-
before I see them.
So I can honestly see this. I can see Tampa beating San Fran, going to the bye week feeling real good, and then losing to the Giants.
Yeah,
I can see it's still 8-9, but I could see that happening.
But
All right,
I
let's
would
move.
probably, if I had to, I would say they might. It's likelier for them to beat the Eagles. I don't have too much trust in the Eagles.
Yeah. All right.
Let's move on to you.
All right. Give me Detroit's.
You ready?
Give me it.
They start
I'm ready.
the season at home against the Rams.
Win.
Okay. Week 2 against Tampa. So this is where we have to disagree on something.
Yeah, I give them the win there.
Who's them? The Lions?
The Lions.
Okay. So they're 2-0.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then they'll go to Arizona to play the Cardinals.
I'm gonna say that's gonna be a loss. I think they
Okay,
lose
so-
to Arizona. Arizona's such a
Right.
tricky team.
Yeah, I don't know what they are. So they're 2-1. And then they play at home against Seattle.
Ooh.
That might be a sneaky good game.
I'm gonna say that is going to be a loss.
The
I think
Lions are
Detroit
going to lose to
loses-
Seattle?
I think Detroit are they playing in Seattle?
No, they're playing in Detroit.
Oh, let's give them a win.
Okay. So
If they're playing at home, I say a win.
they're going to the bye week. They have a really crappy bye week. They're going to the bye week 3-1.
That's what sucks. I hate early bye weeks.
Yeah.
I hate the weeks. I hated the week 7 trade deadline. I hate bye weeks before the trade deadline.
Yep.
That's not.
Yep.
It's not
We'll
fair,
have to
especially
dive
when it's
into
in the
that.
season.
We'll have to dive into that more. So they're into the bye
Yeah.
week 3-1, and then they will go to Dallas to play the Cowboys.
They're at Dallas,
Yes,
and here's the thing: Dallas is so good in the regular season.
they
They're
are,
so good,
especially in October.
and they're playing in the Big D. I'm gonna give the Lions a loss there.
Okay, they're 3-2, and then they will go to Minnesota play the Vikings.
In Minnesota,
Yeah.
that's gonna be a win.
Okay,
That'll be a win. Yeah.
so they're 4-2, and then they will host the Titans.
Ooh, the Titans. The Titans are like my sneaky team to actually upset the Texans to win the AFC South.
No way. They're in full
I
rebuild mode.
the rebuild was 2 years ago. Last year was year one to see what Will Levis could do. I have high hopes for Tennessee, but at
Okay.
home against Detroit, I'm gonna give it to Detroit.
So they're 5-2.
Yeah.
And then they will go to Green Bay to play the Packers.
Woo! Going to Green Bay.
Keep in
I'm gonna
mind, it's
give
early
that.
November. It's early
Yeah.
November, so it's
I'm
not
gonna.
full on
I'm gonna.
snowstorms.
It's not a snowstorm. I'm gonna give the win to Dallas.
To Dallas, Green
I'm gonna say
Bay,
Dallas wins
Green
that
Bay,
game.
Detroit.
I mean not Dallas. To Detroit.
So they're 6-2 right now.
They're 6-2 right now. Yep.
They will go to Houston.
At Houston. I'm gonna say they lose that game.
Yeah, I would think so. I have high hopes for Houston this year. And
So
then
do I.
they
If I
will
was going to finish second in the AFC South.
no, they will host the Jaguars.
Ooh, that's a tough no. That's a win for Detroit.
Yeah. So is that 7-2?
Okay.
No,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 and 3.
7-3. Yeah. And then they
Yeah.
will go to Indianapolis to play the Colts.
I love what Indy's doing, but I give India another year before they're relevant again. I give Detroit the win there.
That's an easy win for them. So that's 8-3.
Yeah.
Then they will play the Bears at home. They will host
Win.
the Bears. Yeah.
Win.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then they will host the Packers, so they have back-to-back division home games.
I say they lose this game. And the reason I say that is because, and I think this is the Thanksgiving game. So I think this isn't the Thanksgiving game.
The Bears is the Thanksgiving game. The week right
The
before.
Bears are okay.
Yeah.
I'm still going to say loss because I feel like the Lions have a really hard time beating the Packers at home. They just do.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, huh?
It's really weird.
Yeah.
So they really step it up when they're on the road at Lambeau, but at home against Green Bay, I'm gonna say loss.
Yeah. Okay. And then they will host. So they have three back-to-back games at home. They will host Buffalo.
Okay. Ooh, what Buffalo team's gonna show up? I'm gonna give them a win here.
And then they will go to Chicago. Keep in mind, this is December 22nd, so it's going to probably be windy and stormy in Chicago.
Keep in mind, it's the Bears. So that's a win for Detroit.
Okay. Next, at the 49ers. That should be a good
loss.
Interesting. Nice and solidified. No doubt about it, huh?
Yeah, I have a feeling, given what happened in the playoffs last year, the Niners are going to come ready to play. When the schedule got released, Kyle Shanahan said, "Hey, I know we got 17 games. This is the game we're focused on right now. But coach, that's not till December. Shut your face. We're going to win this game. We're not going to give up a 21-point lead again or a 17-point lead. We're going to win this game."
They won the last game, so they
think,
shouldn't be too mad about it.
Yeah, so I say the Niners win that game. So loss to Detroit.
And then finally, they will end the season hosting the Vikings.
The Vikings
TBD.
Win.
So they're sweeping the Vikings?
Yeah. This is JJ McCarthy's first year. And whether or not they want to sit JJ, Sam Darnold is going to be the starter.
And doesn't get better.
Like I said, it's just like Indy. Minnesota's going to take one more year to become relevant. And they have this year to prove to Justin Jefferson that they're serious. So Detroit going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 and 6.
Okay. That's not bad.
Not bad.
Take a step back, right? They finished 12-5 last year.
Yeah. And they only have as many losses, too, because they're bye weeks in week 5. I don't care how tough your team is. If you have no time to rest, And they have, how many games do they have on the short week after the bye? One? No, not one.
After the bye, they don't have
They have
any quick
one.
turnaround.
They have 2 games. No, 1 game on a short week because their Thanksgiving and Thursday night are back to back. So they got 1
Yeah.
game on short rest. 1 game.
But they also get another
even,
Thursday game right after that, so they'll make up for it.
That's what I'm saying. So like those Thursday games are back to back, so that eliminates having to play 2 games on a short week after your week 5 bye.
Yeah.
But,
so mini,
yeah.
mini bye
11-6.
after the Packers.
And 11-6, I honestly think will probably be enough to win the NFC North.
Really?
And not because it's mid, but because I think the Packers and the Lions are going to fight. And
yeah.
And they both might finish 11-6. But it'll come down to divisional record.
Yeah.
And I'm not sold. I love what Jordan Love. I love how he caught on to the game in the playoffs, but I'm waiting to see how he responds to just regular season games on a consistent basis. Let's see what he does with this, like his actual second year, and then his ragtag band of receivers. And let's see how that plays out. I mean, they got Josh Jacobs in the backfield, and then who else did they get to be back there with Josh Jacobs?
No, they traded away. They got rid of Aaron Jones.
No. They traded away Aaron Jones, but they
Yeah.
signed. There's someone else in that backfield.
I think
I can't remember who
Dylan.
it is.
I think it's just Dylan they have back there, which is not a solid second.
It's not okay. It is AJ Dillon, and that's actually I like that Thunder. If it's AJ Dillon, I like that Thunder and Lightning.
Yeah,
they got going on.
I said it's not a.
Yeah.
It is a solid second. Is what I should have said.
Yeah.
Anyways,
so
there we go.
All right,
that's our analysis.
Yeah.
Let's jump right in to the NHL, since you were jumping out of your seat to discuss what's going on in the NHL playoffs.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts?
I don't know what's going on with Boston is my thoughts. They found a way to sneak a win to make it 3-2, but they were down 3-1. So that was I just don't know what to think about Boston. I thought they were going to be really good, but I think you called the fact that Florida was actually going to be a really good team. So maybe you saw something in them that I didn't, but I'm surprised that Boston is struggling right now. That's what I've noticed.
Like I said, Florida's just one of those teams. Like it's that old adage: jack of all trades, master of none. The Panthers are a jack of all trades. They do everything really, really good. They're good at everything.
Yeah,
they're not great at one aspect, but they're really good all around. And so if they fail in one, well, they're good in the other 3 in the other 2 areas. So, and Boston's just, I mean, I don't know what it is with Boston teams in the playoffs this year. I don't know. It's just, and I don't know if it's the choke or if it's just, I don't know where the edge is. I just don't see it. I don't. And with Boston, I mean, Boston's got 2. They have the best 1-2 goalie punch there is. The only problem is you can only play 1 goalie a game. Yeah. And so
maybe I know they've been leading. Throw another goalie out there, put him mid range.
Yeah, make him a defenseman. Yeah, I mean that would help. But I mean they've been going with Swayman a lot, and Swayman's not doing a bad job, but I just don't see Florida losing this. I just don't. I mean they're up 3-2 right now.
They are.
And when is the next game? Tomorrow? It's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Game 6 is tomorrow. It's in Boston. I see this going 7 games, but I don't see it going Boston's way. I think the Panthers close it out at home in 7. I wouldn't be too surprised if they closed it out in Boston tomorrow. I wouldn't, because it seems like they've been going back and forth, kind of like and like I said, like home court advantage just doesn't seem to matter in hockey. It just doesn't.
It really doesn't.
because it's really because it's not like it's not even like basketball where like you got your home court and your offense has the ball and you get to cheer. The puck's bouncing around the whole
Yeah,
time.
half the time the crowd
I
doesn't
mean,
even know
like,
where the puck is. Let's be
yeah, I don't
honest.
even know where it is half the time. So, home court advantage just doesn't seem to matter in hockey. But I can absolutely see Florida winning this series. They're the 3 seed. It makes sense. They are the 3rd best team in the Eastern Conference behind the Rangers and the Canes, which is the series that I'm watching now.
Which, by the
Um,
way, is a gripe that I need to bring up to you, with you. What the hell? Okay, that's simply what I'm going to ask you. Okay, and
what
I
are you,
think I
Michael
know.
Scott? What the
Yeah, I
heck?
feel like you understand what I'm getting at, but what the hell? And I'm referring to the Rangers Kane series.
Yeah.
They were up 3-0, and they're
Uh-oh.
down.
We
They were
lost Manny
down.
there for a second.
Oh,
Let's see if he comes
I'm
back.
back. I'm
Yeah,
here.
I until Manny comes back, I really I Florida's just good at every aspect of the game. Like I said, they're not a master of any, but they're just good. They're good all around. And Boston's they're too sketch on just all around. I mean, their goalie plays. I honestly, they're to me what I've seen is their strongest side of the game that they have. Hey, you're back. Awesome. Yeah.
Finishing my
I was
statement. What the hell's going on with the Rangers? I could hear you talking about Florida being a master of none or whatever you were saying.
yeah.
But the Rangers were up 3-0.
Yeah.
They are about to, well, I know the pendulum can easily swing, but they're down 3-1 right now against Carolina in the second period. Are they about to push the craziest game 7 and choke this? You called them the
No,
team that
I
was going
don't.
to cruise to the Stanley Cup final. You said
Oh,
they were
I
going
did
to,
not say they were going to cruise. I never said that.
maybe
Oh,
not in
that
those words, but you made it
those
seem
were
like they were
words
almost
that
a
were
lock-in.
never said, sir. Sir, take it back. I said that the Rangers in the first round when they played the Senators.
Yep.
Okay, I said that they would have no problem against the Senators because to me the Rangers were still the best team in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But I also said that when we get to the semis, it's more than likely going to be Carolina playing them.
Yep.
And as even though I like the Rangers to win the series, I wouldn't be surprised if there was going to be issues. And now the Rangers, yeah, they were up 3-0. They lost the last 2 games. They're down 3-1 going into the third period. I still see the Rangers winning this series. I do. But I also said at the very beginning, before the Senator series even happened, that while the Rangers had it, because I said this, I said Carolina has some of the grace, it has probably the best defensive line play in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But they have real shoddy goaltending. The Rangers have the best goaltender in the playoffs, but real shoddy defensive line play. And I said it was going to come down to that because Shesterkin, no matter how good he is, this dude is just he is automatic in front of that goal. This dude he finds the puck and he jumps on it. But when your defensive line allows 40 to 50 shots on goal a game, that's gonna wear on a guy. It just is. And this isn't like the NBA playoffs where you get 2 days off to travel and maybe you get 2 days off between a game that when you don't have to travel. No, the NHL is the most physically demanding game that there is because it's non-stop. It doesn't stop. And so I'm not while I'm disappointed in the 3-2 game in the 3-2 series now that because the Rangers are 3-0. I can't say I'm surprised by it because part in the back of my mind, I was like, it's going to take time, but let the defensive line play from Schneider and Trouba. Let it all show up. Let it show up, and it's going to be a detriment to the Rangers. And that's what's happened. That's exactly what's happened. I still think the Rangers win this. I still think the Rangers win this series. They're going to go to New York for game 7. If they don't win this game, They'll go back to Game 7. They'll go back to New York for Game 7. Honestly, see them winning it. Even if they went to Carolina, I still see them winning it. But they're going back to New York. The Rangers will close out the series. They will prove that they were the number 1 seed all along for a reason. For a reason.
No, I'm not sold on it. And we talked about it last time when the last episode that when they went into double overtime, the only reason the Canes lost that game was because of a bad, really ill-timed cross check by the Canes players. So I'm just not too sold that they really have it in them. And additionally, I think winning the President's Cup might be somewhat of a curse because the last team to win the President's Cup and win the Stanley Cup was the 2012-13 Chicago Blackhawks. That was almost 11 years ago. So there might be something going on there when it comes to not being able to pull it all together. It's like the Cowboys of hockey. If you do, you can break the record.
How
for most
dare
of the
you?
regular season.
How dare you? There's not a great thing about the Cowboys, okay? If the Cowboys are anything, they're like the Florida Panthers.
No,
They're
there is
good
regular season Cowboys and there is playoff Cowboys. Regular season Cowboys should have like 8 Super Bowls by now. But that's not what counts. Again,
So
they won the President's Cup, which by default it means... What was that?
You saying the Cowboys like the Lakers then?
Yes, pretty much. Lakers, Cowboys, they're all the same.
The Dodgers, yeah, they're all the same.
Exactly. Right. You're proving my point. The Rangers fall in that category. And I don't know. No. I'm not too sold that they can do it. But on the other side, real quickly, let's recap what's going on the other side. I haven't been intrigued by the
Vancouver-Edmonton series?
Yeah, no. I haven't been intrigued by that series. I don't know
That's
why.
That's like the funnest one for me to watch.
Yeah,
I love this series. They're two mid
because
teams.
I've associated those two teams as being like really not relevant teams. I don't know.
Well, you're just saying that because they're both from Canada, and I relate to you in that one. That's fine. Anything Justin Trudeau's going to or in the vicinity of, it's like, why do we care? Exactly. No, but look, I'm telling you, this Canucks Oilers series. I said before it started, I was like, this. If you're looking for a series where it's just fun, this is the series for you. This is it. This series is going to go 7 games. It's going to go 7, and it's going to be fun all the way through. It's going to be a joy to watch. The one series that I'm confounded by is Dallas and Colorado.
Yeah, me too.
I don't.
I don't know what's going on with Dallas.
Dallas is like if we had to pick, I don't know, songs for pro teams in the playoffs, I would say Dallas is Katy Perry's "Hot and Cold." Okay, it's just I don't, and they're hot and cold in the middle of the game. I don't like if they're up 3-0 in the first period, I'm like they're gonna lose, and then they go up 3-0 in the first period the next game, and they win. I have no idea what I'm going to get. I have no clue what's going to happen in this series. I know Dallas is up 3-2.
Yeah. Their goal is to like score four goals. If they can score 4 goals, then they'll win the game. That's pretty much what it comes down to. Yeah. But they've looked sloppy.
Not higher than 3.
Sloppy.
Yeah.
They look sloppy. Overall, they're turning the puck over for no reason. The Avalanche didn't look any better, by the way. It's just a messy series overall. Both teams just look they don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah. In the way that this series is going, it's, Colorado went up 1-0. Dallas tied 1-1. Dallas went up 2-1. Dallas went up 3-1. Colorado's down 3-2 now. Now they go back to Colorado, and I said home. I said home ice advantage doesn't really matter a hill of beans, but these are probably the 2 most storied franchises. To me, this is probably one of the greatest rivalries in hockey. Are the Avalanche and the Stars? I mean, these were the epitome of hockey in the 90s. The Avalanche and the Stars. And, and so it's been a real treat watching these 2 teams go at it. But I just, this series is going to go 7 games. And if it goes 7 games, I can see Colorado closing it out. If Dallas allows Colorado to win tomorrow, Colorado's going to win this series on Sunday. They're going to win. Colorado will win this series.
We'll see. It is the perfect matchup for Texas versus Colorado.
Yeah.
both
Yeah.
a shit show
Mhm.
of
Yeah.
locations, and I'm not
Yeah.
surprised they hate each other, and I'm not surprised the
Yeah.
way they're playing.
Yeah. And I said if you wanted a fun series to watch, Vancouver, Edmonton, here's the
did.
scores for those games. Canucks 5-4. Oilers 4-3. Canucks 4-3. Oilers 3-2. So this is one of those games. This is one of those series where if you just want straight goals and action on both sides, watch
Yeah.
this series. Watch it. I know Boston and Florida was really exciting for one side for those first 3 games. But this Vancouver Edmonton series has just been close. It's been a great series so far. It's been tit for tat.
Yep.
And I think it's just one of those. It's like it's the epitome of Canada. It's just quirky. You look at it and like you still exist. You're still a thing up there. That's how people look at this Vancouver Edmonton series. This is a series. You're still playing. They haven't even played Game 5 yet. I mean, it seems like they're just like taking forever to play
It
this
really
series.
does. Yes.
And what Game 5 is what tonight? Yeah, Game 5's
so.
tonight. So it's gonna go back and forth. That series is gonna go 7. The Rangers will go 7. Colorado and the Stars are gonna go 7.
All of
Florida's
them are
gonna close
7
it out,
apparently.
and Florida's gonna close it out in 6 games. I think that's the only series that doesn't go 6 or doesn't go 7. Is Florida Boston?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm cheering for Canada to get a Stanley Cup. That whole country will shut down if they win the Stanley Cup, no matter which team it is. The whole country is going to dedicate the day, the moment the buzzer hits for the Stanley Cup. If one of those teams wins, they'll call that a national holiday for the next 10 years.
If a Canadian team wins the cup, it's gonna have that country's gonna shut down more than it did during the trucker strike. It's just gonna be it's gonna be pandemonium. So now we talked about the Stanley Cup. Let's get to the NBA.
There we go.
Let's get to your bread and butter.
So far, let me tell you, I'm pretty sure I made this prediction way back in January, mid-season, right after the All-Star break, that the Celtics were possibly, most likely, going to lose a total of 3 to 4 games the entire playoff series. And right now they've lost 2 and they are in the conference finals. So I think I had a good gauge on that series. I feel bad for the Cavaliers that they ended up losing 4 of their starters on that last. They lost like 4 of their starters yesterday. It was ridiculous, but they made it. I guess made it a game, but I mean, the Celtics.
But that's more. I think that's more of an indictment to just how Boston plays. I don't think Cleveland made it a game as much as it is Boston just kind of just let them hang around,
cruising,
and that's
they knew they were
Boston's
going to get
problem.
the win, so why hurt themselves? They do get complacent a lot, and they've admitted that they get complacent. Jason Tatum came out and said that the reason they keep losing home games is because they get complacent and prioritize coming in harder when they're at another team's home. So dude, that is a thing. I told you last week, the Knicks Pacers game, the Knicks were looking beat up. They didn't look good. Game 4, and then they came
Game
back.
4.
Yeah. And then they lost by 40 that game. That was ridiculous. I watched that game, and I don't know why I watched the entire thing. Maybe just to see how badly they lost. They just looked
I gotta
tired.
say, they do. But if they were giving out MVPs for that series, if that series ended, Alec Burks would have easily been considered a MVP for that series. Coming off the bench for 23 minutes and 18 points. That's a ridiculous stat line for a bench player. That's almost a point a minute. That's ridiculous. But then you got Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart playing out of their minds still. I know people seem to have an issue with Tom Thibodeau. They seem to have an issue with the fact of how he's run his team and played his players throughout the regular season and even in the playoffs.
I have an issue.
You have an issue with that?
Yes, he's beat his. I told you last week he has played his players to the ground, and that might be because of the lack of depth and not having a choice. But God, jeez,
Well,
they
everyone's
are.
hurt. Everyone is hurt.
I know. I was
They
giving
had to
him the
go to the
benefit of the doubt
depth to be
because
the starters, and now the starters are getting hurt.
yeah. Ultimately, they look
But
tired, and I was surprised that they won Game 5 the way they did. I think they used every ounce they
yeah,
had left of energy for
yeah,
that win, and I'm not too convinced they can
yeah,
sneak one more win in the next two.
yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
they
and
just looked
yeah,
tired. They were missing layups, like
they
open
were,
layups.
yeah,
It was bad.
yeah.
It's bad.
But I think so it's one of those weird things. Okay, so Indianapolis, that game seemed a lot further apart than what it actually was, I thought, because if 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 Tyrese Halliburton actually just showed up, I mean, I know he suited up for the game, but that was about all he did. He was there. I saw him on the court for about, I don't know, 35 minutes. But
Yeah,
if
he's
he
been
actually
very wishy-washy.
yeah, it's just, and so I did some research on that game, and no one had double digit boards for the Pacers in that game. No one. A couple had 5, but only one had more than 5, and that was Siakam, and he had 8. The Knicks had, and this is why I think the Knicks will excel. This is why I think the Knicks win this series, is because they might miss the layups, and they've done that every single game. When you get to the fourth quarter, they just seem to miss the easy shots. They just miss
Yep.
them, and
Yep.
and it's probably just a product because they're tired. But what doesn't stop is their toughness in the paint in regards to actually grabbing the rebound. They never stop out hustling the Pacers. They just don't. There's a hustle about the Knicks that if the Knicks win this series, and I think they will, the Knicks win this series, and it will be Boston and New York, a 1-2. If Boston continues to play that the way they have with letting the teams hang around, the Knicks will wipe the floor with them. They will. Boston has
I beg
got
to differ.
what's that?
I said I beg to differ on that.
Boston has to have some. And I don't know if it was just playing the Jimmy Butler less Heat, and then playing the Donovan Mitchell less Cavaliers, which is why they're just kind of cruising through this. And hopefully that is. I would love to see Boston win a ring. I want to see Boston win the championship this year. I really do. But if Boston doesn't know how to turn it on, if they can't turn it on against the Knicks will out hustle. The Knicks will out bully the Celtics.
I'm
It
not
will
sold
happen.
on it. I'm not sold on it. And we'll use this as a segue to talk about one of the other matchups for the Denver matchup.
Mhm.
I think it's very similar to that, where they're just
First of
maybe
all, hey, before you start, I think I deserve some flowers for saying that Denver was not out of this when they were down
first
2-0.
off, I wasn't ready to
If
talk
I'm not
about Denver.
mistaken,
First off, I was still talking about the Knicks. I mean, about Boston and how they are
you
playing down
transitioned.
to their competition. I said it will be a segue. But I was getting at Boston is playing down to their competition, waiting to be challenged. It's like them and Denver are playing side missions to see how much they can push the Buck before they actually decide to play.
Yeah.
But I don't think Boston's as bad as you're making it seem, as far as it being close if the Knicks push them. I don't think so. Knicks are tired. If they win it, it's gonna probably be in 7. I don't think so. Either way.
I
Anyways,
gave a condition. To that. I said it could be the fact that they played Miami and they played Cleveland. They were out
yeah.
and they played 3-2. They played against a team without Jimmy Butler, and they played against a team that was pretty much without Donovan Mitchell. And so they had a gentleman sweep for both of those series. I get that. What I'm saying is that if Boston, I'm waiting to see Boston turn it on because
Yes.
I can't decide, and I'm and I've already said this. I'm leaning toward believing Boston was just taking it easy because they really didn't have to play too hard. I don't think Boston's soft. I don't think that. But the Knicks are going to hit the ground running. The Knicks are going to come and they are ready to punch you in the mouth. They
First
are
off,
ready to do it.
they are going to hit the ground limping.
They've been hitting the ground limping the entire playoffs, and they still punch you in the mouth. They still doing that.
They have enough energy to kick you in the shins. That's about all they're doing right now. Well,
Hey,
enough about
hurts.
that. We have 2 more series to talk about. We need to talk about the Western Conference.
We do.
Because, first off, are you not amused yet by Dallas's series? Are you still
I
hating
am
on
amused
Dallas?
by it. I'm not. And do you know why?
Because they started
Because
playing team ball?
well, that and because Luka finally transitioned from a player who kept talking about how hurt he was to actually talking about the effort on the court. I could give 2 craps how hurt you are, Luka. I don't care. You know who else is hurt? The New York Knicks, and they're not complaining about it. This series is interesting to me because Luka, the moment he transitioned from like I'm hurt, to the effort on the court was great. We really, Oklahoma City was going fast, quick. We put a stop to it as a team. We were able to get past them. We were able to dominate, and we never let them past us again. That is the Luka I want to hear from. That's the Luka Dallas needs. Luka needs that Dallas. I mean, Dallas needs that Luka. They do. Because Luka can be a transformational player on the court when he's not thinking about himself.
True. I think they just shot him up with a good amount of cortisone in his knees to actually let him play because he didn't look good in the first few games. But so a couple things that I've noticed about that series. I still love the fact that Kyrie knows what role to take, and when he wants to dominate, he has dominated.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday's game, Luka decided he was going to take control, and God, something about Luka's shot, I don't know how his shots land. The defender will be right on him, and he just throws a beautiful arch, and they just swish right through the net. It's a he's a really fun player to watch just because of how he plays. His little step back shooter is amazing. And last point that I want to make, my guy that I was harping on last episode about not knowing what was going on at all times, like likely.
Yeah.
He seems to have been he's like being forced to grow up in the moment. He looked amazing last game.
Bro, the dude had a double-double in 23 minutes.
Yes.
It took him less than half a game to have a double-double.
Yeah. He was jumping over guys. He was catching alley-oops. He was defending really well. And this is one thing that I want to say back to when I picked the Thunder as my to-watch team. I said they were going to have a problem with bigs and defenders because they don't have something to equate to a big. And right now that he's stepping into that role, OKC doesn't know what to do about that. They're relying on the perimeter shooting, and they're not doing really good at it. They're struggling with that. So I'm concerned what OKC has to offer because Holmgren is not a big. He's a big, but he's not a big. He doesn't dominate.
He's a big dude, but I agree with you. And I would add another element to that is I think something that's going against OKC is their youth because they're so young. Even if the team was constructed as it was, but it was 3 years down the road, I think it's a different story because I think they know how to play. I think they know how to play against any team, no matter how many bigs the opponent has.
Yeah.
But I think the youth is actually getting to them. And I think Mark Daigneault even said that because even him before the playoffs, they're like, how are you guys doing this? He's like, I don't know. I just hope it continues. So, and honestly, I think that's a great approach to it. I think it's a great approach to your team with the youth that you have, saying, hey, we're not really sure how this game's going to turn out, but we know who we are. We know how to play. And I think what helps OKC, what's going to help OKC in the future, because I don't think they get out of this series. I think Dallas wins this series probably in 7 games. I think OKC has one more win in them. But what's going to help OKC down the line is that as they mature and as they continue to play the ball that they know how to play and they should play, that will eventually become their greatest strength.
Yeah.
Because then that play that they know they're supposed to do is going to help them counteract whoever they're playing.
Agreed. 100% agree. And like I said early on, they are probably what Dallas was a few years ago when Golden State beat them in the Western Conference Finals. They're a team that has something really well building, but they're just a year too early, a year or two too early. And Dallas has finally put it together. I don't know what the hell they have put together because they didn't really add any key additions. They just had players stepping up. Maybe that comes from the experience component of things. But Dallas is what OKC will be in the next 2 years. The only thing I'm saying is that I don't know why Dallas continues to not put the pedal to the metal when they've been up by 15 and then they let them come right back and be down by 5 to 7 points.
Yeah.
If you have somebody down, you don't let them get back up. You just finish them off. And that is something that Dallas needs to correct in the next 2 games to make sure that they somehow don't lose control of the series.
Yeah. And I honestly, I think that's turned a corner. I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas wins Game 6, but I think that's turned a corner because Luka, as I said, has transitioned from I'm hurt to we played as a team. This is our effort. This is how we attacked. If Luka can continue to be that guy that Dallas needs him to be, because Luka needs to be the guy. He needs to be the dude for Dallas. He needs to be.
Sure. Yep.
And so if Luka can continue to be who he's been, especially after what was it last night? Having a triple double, I think that's exactly the Luka that they need. They need him. And I'm not discrediting. Go ahead.
We need to give credit to the unsung hero that is PJ Washington. I think his versus PJ. Goodness gracious.
Yes.
A team needs a third player because it's easy to defend the 2 key players. He has been stepping up to the plate, and he's not getting enough attention for what he's doing. Whenever they need it out of him, he's hitting he's getting his own rebounds. He's making 3-pointers in a row. Like he's doing everything that the team needs him to because Kyrie and Luka are just being double teamed at all points.
Yeah. My only thing with PJ is the fact that I get he's young. He's only 25. And on the season he averaged I think just under he averaged double-digit points and I think more than half a board a game, more than 5 boards a game. My thing with PJ is the turnovers.
Yes.
So if he can learn how to have his moment and have that ball control that's necessary, because he played nearly 40 minutes last night. He played a long time. He had a double-double, 10 points, 10 boards. But if he can learn how to have ball control, I think that's out. I mean, to your credit for bringing him up, that's going to allow Dallas to actually have a little bit more breathing room. Because, OKC's advantage is playing on the perimeter. And so if you have 3 turnovers, I mean that's, practically that's 9 points theoretically. So, you can, that's, and so that closes your 15 point lead back down to a 5-point lead just with those turnovers alone. And so if PJ can have better ball handling, better ball control, I think that'll absolutely allow Dallas to have just a little bit more breathing room and not have to worry what's going to happen in these last 5 minutes.
That's correctable, though. Thankfully, for God knows what reason, they have their next Game 6 is not till Saturday, which is wild. They have 3 days off for the most part.
It's a travel day. That's why.
Yeah, whatever. Well,
So
either way, you can coach that.
every travel day in the NBA is going to be 2 days.
Yeah, I don't like it. Either way, it's coachable, and they have 2 days to tell him if you see your player, throw it to him. Don't throw it where you think the player is going to be. That's pretty much narrows down what I've noticed from his turnovers. He thinks his players are doing one thing, and they're actually not on the same page, and he throws it where he was wanting his player to go. It's just maybe he's not at that point in his career where he kind of has that chemistry or knows what to expect on the court. But that's
Yeah.
something that is it's a small thing that has turned into turnovers, yes, but it's something that you can easily fix by just taking just a small bit of an approach.
Yeah. No, I know. I absolutely that, and it's a good thing when you're because it's not like the NFL when the running back has issues fumbling the football.
Yeah,
You're playing in the NBA. This is just you taking a half a second before you make that pass
exactly.
because he had a double, but he had 1 assist. And if you and that is easily a what a 15-point turnaround
Yeah,
if you can instead of giving up 3 threes, now you're giving up 3 deuces,
yep.
3 layups for your side, and like I said, that should allow Dallas to have just a little bit more breathing room for the rest of the
Yeah,
game as
agreed.
opposed to having to worry about is OKC going to come back.
Yeah. But lastly, JB, here's your flowers. You weren't worried about Denver.
Oh, you got me flowers.
Yes,
Oh,
I'm giving you the flowers you deserve because I was worried about Denver. And then I watched Jokic and I realized that he's just playing games with his opponent and that he just decides when he wants to play really hard. But I will say this. Jokic will do his thing. Always has done his thing. He doesn't have games where he's off.
yeah,
His off game is like 25 points. That's not a bad game. Murray is the
yeah,
exciting factor for this series. Whenever Murray is struggling or he's throwing
yeah,
a tantrum or he's not in the game or he's just missing his shots, then they lose the games. And that's
mhm,
what happened in the first 2
yeah,
games. He was just not on it. But
yeah.
going back to Jokic,
Murray's disappeared.
he has.
He's disappeared.
He has.
I don't know what happened to him, but
But
he's just like
he's come back a little bit. In the last 2 games, he's settled back in. I think his little meltdown kind of snapped him back into reality, and it took him a minute to jump back in.
yeah. Yeah, because I was looking at it and you're right, he's slowly come back for that. I have to say the 2 dudes who have just shown up are KCP and Aaron Gordon. They have just continued to ball.
Oh my God! Yeah,
And Aaron Gordon especially. There's just something special about the little guy driving to the
not
bucket
little. He's not little.
with no regard. He's little. He's 6'8", okay? In a land full of giants, he's a midget, all right? He is he's tiny, all right?
You know what I love about him? He is set out to kill Gobert. He's just like driving right at him every chance he gets to posterize him and dunk on him, and it hasn't worked.
And I got to tell
But
you,
he is set
I
out to
think
kill him.
there's something about how AG has handled Gobert where I think Gobert now has the yips. Where is Gobert? Where is he?
He
Those
fucking has a
game 1 and
handful
2.
with defending Jokic. What do you mean?
Well, here's my thing. Games 1 and 2, like they had no answer for Gobert, none. And then, but even with that, I was like, Denver will figure it out. They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But and I think part of the issue with Denver was they just got finished playing a 5-game series with LA. There's no bullies on the Lakers. There's none.
No.
There's no one on
I know.
LA that's gonna push you around, and then you get in, and then you get Mr. World Defense on your best player, and it's like, whoa, what's gonna happen here? And then you got Anthony Edwards just playing MJ ball.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just out there just doing what he wants.
Yes.
But
I don't. I'm more concerned about where Cat has been. But what I have to say about Jokic is
he showed
is
up 2
making
nights ago.
Well, yeah, but I'm more. I'm not even. It's not a concern. It's an impression factor. Jokic is making Gobert look like he's a mid defender, and Gobert from the previous game, the game that just happened, Gobert has regularly been on Jokic, and he's not been out of position. And Jokic is bullying him, like throwing every shot he wants. He's
Yeah.
making it seem like he's just going up against an average defender, and that's not what is happening. But Jokic is
Yeah.
just dominating him to a level that I didn't think was going to happen. I thought it was going to be a tit for tat, head to head, like controlling it on both sides. But
Yeah.
no, Jokic is just
Yeah.
on it. And another thing about Jokic, his court vision and his ball handling to get the ball to his teammates is
Mhm.
something that I didn't realize until lately that he had in him. I know because he gets
Oh,
double
yeah.
teamed regularly, he finds the open
Yeah.
player. Oh my God, this guy was throwing cross court dimes to get the assist. He was throwing behind the back passes under the rim to get assists with Aaron Gordon. Like he knows at
Yeah.
all times. There's not a
He
time where you
does.
can say he didn't know where his fifth player was. He's always aware. And it's not even like a delay. There was this one play that just had me shook. He got the rebound. It was a missed basket. He got the rebound. He didn't look for his player. He just automatically threw it across the court, and his player was right underneath the basket. And I want to say it was Murray, right underneath the basket, just waiting with his hands wide open.
Yeah.
It was. I didn't know what to think about that. I was just impressed overall
Yeah.
with the way that he
Yeah.
handles that.
The most impressive thing about Jokic is that even just that play that you described, which was beautiful, by the way,
Thank
Oscar
you.
winning performance. It's the fact that he's not turnover prone. This
No.
dude, like he's almost like he's like, oh, I gotta pause here. It's 3-3 now.
Oh.
With 7 minutes left in the third. So the way Jokic plays is almost as I know you don't remember this, but in the 90s, Nebraska football was
God.
it. That is I mean, I know it's hard for you to believe in your lifetime, but Nebraska used to be a powerhouse.
Yeah,
okay?
I did not. Never in a million years.
Nebraska used to do the power eye, and they used to say, hey, they could almost look at the defense and say, hey, we're gonna run the ball through the gap here, right here. It's gonna come through here. Try to stop it. And they couldn't stop it. That's what Jokic is. Jokic decides what he's going to do, and he does it. And that no-look pass was absolutely beautiful. And he does this all the time. All the time. And so you can double team Jokic all you want. But any guy who starts with yo and ends in itch, that dude is going to he's going to do what he wants.
He is.
He's
He is doing what he wants. What did he have? 35, 40 points? Just casually. He got 30, 40
Here's
points.
Here's his numbers. He played 41 minutes. He had 40 points.
Yes.
7 boards and 13 assists. And that is what made it. And people could talk about, oh, he's just putting up points left and right. The thing about Jokic and the reason why he's been a 3-time MVP is because of the way he passes the ball. This dude has assists like none other. None other. And that was always my argument against him and Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid can light up the scoreboard. But when it comes to actually passing the ball and actually spreading the wealth, no one does it better than Jokic. No one.
There was that play that I would just reference, and then one other play where he caught the ball center line from the basket from the three-pointer, facing away from the basket over his right shoulder to Aaron Gordon. Ultimately, Aaron Gordon got fouled by Gobert, and the basket didn't count, which would have been the cherry on top if he dunked it on him. But again, just that type of constant awareness of what is going on the court. I don't even know how the heck he knew that Aaron Gordon was there. He caught it instantly. No look, just instantly catch and dip. It was just amazing. Yeah, like you said, that's the reason he's an MVP.
Yeah, yeah. He's got an awareness that is unparalleled. It's unparalleled. And
you know what's
honestly,
crazy?
I know
you know what's crazy about that? He looks bored. He looks like he's not even at like 100% trying.
And I've always said this. I've never seen a dude play ball the way he does at the level he does and look he couldn't look more disinterested in playing basketball.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. They said in the offseason, I think it was Caldwell Pope, they said he didn't touch a basketball.
Yeah. He just
He
goes.
doesn't touch a basketball during the offseason.
No.
And then once it's mini camp and then mandatory workouts, he's touching a basketball.
Yep.
And they say he gets better. He got better this season.
I've never seen a player go.
Blows my mind.
I've never seen a player get 40 points and look like he left like 20 on the court ever. And that's just the level of intensity. Like, okay,
Yeah.
what do I want to aim for? Like 40? Do I want to get 30? I'll cut it slow. I won't beat them up. That's just weird. It's impressive. I don't even know. I just keep calling him impressive because that's just how you describe it.
It is something special just watching this dude play. I mean,
Yes.
this dude averaged nearly a triple-double for the entire regular season. He was a board shy of a triple-double for the entire regular season. It's just it's unreal watching him. And he's great at the free throw line too.
He is.
This dude, I mean, he is the most well-rounded player we have in the NBA.
It's
The
impressive.
most well-rounded.
I love it. And
It's extremely impressive.
I'm sorry that I ever doubted him and his team.
I'm sorry. I thought you were going to say you doubted me.
No,
In
never.
my predictions here.
You know what that music means, though.
Yeah.
It is time for everybody's fix of 6. You ready for this, JB? Are you ready to catch everybody up in what has happened in the sports world?
Woo! Hit me.
Kick it off, JB. Let's get right into it.
Your JB's fix of 6 at number 3. Pow. I have the 2024 Division I NCAA Softball Championships kicking off tomorrow. Now, I know I haven't given a lot of love to women's sports on this podcast. I've given love to Caitlin Clark. She was a flavor of the hour. But women's softball is hands down the best of all of the women's sports that there is. And I'm excited to watch it. It's fallen hand in hand with the conference championships of college baseball. I'm excited to watch. My team to watch is, of course, Oklahoma. I can't see a world. I know Oklahoma's a 2 seed. I get it. But Oklahoma just plays at another level. When the lights are on and they're ready to go, the Lady Sooners just play at a level that is just a notch higher than everyone else. My
Agreed.
number 2. Go ahead.
The only thing better than women's softball is women's just gymnastics. I feel like any female in gymnastics would kick my ass.
Well, yeah, they kicked my butt too. Yeah. My number 2.5 fix of 6 is the Rangers just went up 4-3. All right. Number 2 of my fix of 6 is Aaron Nola's 85-second pitch inning. He did 3 pitches against no other than the Mets, because no one Mets quite like the Mets do. Nola led off that inning giving up a single to Starling Marte.
Yeah.
There was a single in there. And then Francisco Lindor lines out, and then the polar bear, Pete Alonso, grounds into a double play. 85 seconds. I'm telling you, before the season started, I know I picked the Braves to win the NL East, but the Phillies, man, they just found another gear, and they have run through the entire baseball world. The first MLB team to 30 wins, and it doesn't even seem close. I feel like every other team's got maybe 10 wins compared to the Phillies. The Phillies are playing baseball on a whole other level. My number 1 fix of 6, the Rockies. They started 8-28 a week ago. You know what the record is now? 15-28. That's right. They're still just a notch above 250 baseball. But this team won 7 games in a row convincingly. Not against the Marlins, not against the White Sox. They swept the Rangers, and then they swept the Padres in San Diego.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying that this is going to carry, but I got to tell you, it's something fun when the Colorado Rockies go on a magical run. Okay. And when they
Hottest.
went 7 in a row, and I know they're 15-28, I get it. And everyone's like, who cares? Well, we all cared when the White Sox won 3 games on a weekend to get to 7 wins. Okay. We all cared then. We should care now because the Rockies just did something that the White Sox will never do, which is win consecutive games for the rest of the season.
That's right.
Manny, what's your fix of 6?
Let's jump right into my fix of 6. Number 3, Budenhauser has been signed by the Suns. I feel like the Suns had buyer's remorse the moment they signed Vrabel and were just eyeing him from that moment on. Uh, it just makes most sense that a coach that won a championship has a good roster around him, and it just makes sense on both sides to pick up a good coach for a good team without wasting my guy Kevin Booker's career. So I am happy for the organization and happy for him. Number 2, relevant to our random Mount Rushmore, the Detroit Lions have signed Jared Goff to an extension. That's right, you heard it. The guy that was supposed to be a choke, a wasted pick, a bust with the Rams has signed an extension, 4 years, $212 million.
Give me that guaranteed money.
I don't have that in front of me.
It's $172 million.
Good for him. If it's not on like the Cowboys, there's a very few amount of players that I cheer for. Goff is one of those guys. He just seems like he fits that Detroit culture. He's fit
Yeah.
so well. But additionally, not only that, it's like the 2.5. The Lions have solidified their 3 top players this offseason. They have re-signed Jared Goff. They have re-signed St. Brown to a 4-year, $120 million contract. And they have re-signed
Justified.
their offensive tackle, Penny Sewell, to a 4-year,
Yep.
$112 million. Oh, excuse me. So kudos to Detroit, solidifying their offense, signing the 3 key players that you need to be competitive. Kudos for doing the right things and changing the script and turning the page on what was a dysfunctional organization for 40 years. And number 1, on this day, I'm going with something a little bit different. On this day in 1985, Michael Jordan won NBA Rookie of the Year. Not significant nowadays, but significant because we all know what happened since then. Don't talk to me about LeBron being in the conversation for greatest of all time. Nobody will do it like MJ, and he deserves every honor and every moment of acknowledgement when it comes to anything that he accomplished in his career. So congrats, MJ. I wasn't born. My parents were in their 30s, but you still dominated. Congratulations. And that is our fix of 6 this week.
Nice. Love it. Oh, that was a good episode, man.
Yeah. Let's wrap things up. What are you drinking?
Let's
What are you
wrap it up.
sipping?
I believe I sipped this the last episode, but I'm sipping this 10-year Lafroig.
Oh,
Again.
I think you did. You didn't have the container.
I didn't have the container. So I like I said, I love peatiness. I love it. It's like a campfire in my mouth. And then my stick of choice is the Liga Privada number 9. It's got a wide gauge. It's got a dark binder to it. It's one of my favorite sticks. So I can just sit back, enjoy it, not have to, and hopefully not have any distractions in finishing it. What did you drink?
I went and chased down a 1792.
Ooh, nice.
That's good. But here, I'll say this. I chased it down because I had the 1792 full batch. This is the small batch. I'm not
Okay.
as impressed with this one. It is a
Okay.
93 proof, but it's still solid. It definitely gives the campfire in your mouth taste. So I would go with the full batch. I was just trying to reminisce back onto what I remembered about that bottle, but it's still doable. I'm drinking it neat,
Yeah.
which is probably why it's burning my mouth.
All right. Well, folks, that wraps it up for this week. As a reminder, find us on Spotify. You can find us on YouTube. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of 2024. So help us in that feat. And you can find us on TikTok at BSB Sports 24, and then also on Instagram, BSB Sports 24. Find us on there. Send us a question. Send us some of your suggestions. Like I said, we immensely enjoy interacting with the fans of the podcast. Manny and I do this. We make no money off of this.
That's
We
right.
do this from the goodness of our heart for you, so you don't have to watch or listen to ESPN radio.
Very true. And as usual, check us out on Spotify, Box Scores and Bourbon, and check us out on YouTube, Box Scores and Bourbon. All full episodes are uploaded there. So check us out. Give us some comments. Give us some segment ideas. We take all criticism, all comments, and all ideas. We will consider everything that comes our way, and we're very active in our TikTok responses. So hit us up,
Yes, we are.
give us a listen, and we will see you on the other side. Peace out.
Cheers, folks.
Cheers.